symbol of tree of life has a lot of meaning to it. And if you really understand the meaning, we can reflect on it and reference it as we go through our day. I do that quite regularly, and I saw that how the symbol of tree of life is so important. So before I start, I am going to share a few things. Okay, now one thing, the reason why I chose tree of life is not only that applies to your life, is also, I also want to hear from you. What are your thoughts? What is your perspective of how you look at the tree of life? Okay, based on your culture, based on your belief systems. All right. And before I start, I'm actually going to read an abstract on the giant tree of life in my book. Okay, Through the Golden Door. So I'll read an abstract from it, and feel free to just listen in and just absorb this sharing. Okay. This is paragraph in page 339. All right, and this is what I wrote. In my mind, the third key is the giant tree of life. It is a majestic symbol, emanating purity and stability, projecting a world that is a reflection of the true nature of our collective self. The tree of life is a concept, a metaphor for common descent, and a motif in various world theologies and philosophies. Biologists use the DNA sequences of modern organisms to reconstruct the tree of life and to figure out the likely characteristics of the most recent common ancestor of all living things, the trunk of the tree of life. Okay? Now, speaking about the DNA, I don't know how much you know about the DNA, but there are these 3-letter genetic code. If you're familiar, it'll be good for you to know. The CGA and GCG are same in every creature. This is the 3-letter genetic code. It's the same in every creature and every life form. Everything has consciousness, where only humans have the creative potential or full potential of the Spirit of God. As such, I imagined it as not just a tree of life, but a giant tree of life with its golden canopy and eternal branches, powered by the Holy Spirit of God. As we function as parts of each other, yet like independent branches, clear with our purpose and playing it out perfectly. It was perhaps a haven for not only my own healing and solace, but the same for everyone else, as a place of love, a place of succurrence, with a bond between caring parties to commune and to connect. Moreover, its lifeblood may circulate the blessings from the vine to the branches and from branches to other branches, a continuous flow of give and receive. So that's an abstract from my book. And also I mentioned about how I discovered an understanding. My first understanding about the tree of life was when I was in Bali. And this is what I wrote. A recollection of the words of knowing that came through while in Bali, to grow your roots deep into the soil of your origin, to draw the sap, the core of the soul, undergoing change the same way as the sap of the tree is chemically transformed in the trunk of a tree. So this is the words about the roots, the origin. The tree of life really represents, the roots represent the origin, our origin, my origin. And the sap in the tree, which is located in the trunk of the tree, is the core of the soul. And that's what I derived through my vision while I was in Bali. And the core of the soul, that sap undergoing a change, chemically transform, a transformation, our soul going through a transformation. As we are part of the tree of life, okay? So we would tap into the sap of God as we are all chemically and spiritually transformed for eternity. Why eternity? The tree of life represents eternity. As the tree grows old, it still releases seeds for its eternal presence. So it's always renewing itself. And as we connect, in a way it means that as we connect with God, we derive our eternity. Okay? So, what was share one more thing here? I mentioned here, we would tap into the sap of God as we are all chemically and spiritually transformed for eternity. This would bring us back to our inherent nature, which is communal and compassionate, as we would not send each other out to war, we would not let each other starve, and we would not deceive or lie to each other. Right? So this is in my book, Through the Golden Door, in the last few chapters, the third last chapter and page 340. Okay? So that's how I describe the tree of life, and basically it goes back to eternity, okay? Connecting to and deriving our eternity. The reference to, yes, the eternity, the purity of our inherent purity, our inherent nature of being eternal, and that connection to God. And also I want to share this with you, all right? Here it is, I just looked through these points here. Yes, so connecting to that lifeblood. And it really reminds us how attaining that intimacy and connection with God allows us to develop and connect to the lifeblood of a renewal, restart in our life. It is also representing a fresh start to our life. Okay? And I remember this very clearly when the first time the symbolism of the tree of life came to me. And I did talk about this. This was in 2014, in August. 1 week before, my father had heart failure. And the symbol of the tree of life came to me as a vision. And what happened is that I could not understand why the banyan tree was shown to me. And the number 710, 711. 1 week later, when he had heart failure, okay, the numbers 711, 710 turned out to be the bed number and ward number of the hospital where he was. And the tree of life was also the symbol that came to represent that, how should I say this? There were symbols of the tree of life that came during the time when he was actually in hospital. Okay? And even though he was declared dead. After having 14 cardiac arrests, he came back to life. And that symbolism of the tree of life was constantly being reiterated. And it was proven as the kidneys came back to normal, the liver came back to normal, the heart came back to normal, even though everything had gone. His brain, 2.5 hours, was gone but had come back. So I really wondered about this meaning of the tree of life. It reminded me about the fresh start. The fresh start was given to me, fresh start given to my father and to our family. Because he, like I said, he was basically raised from the dead. And I knew automatically that it was God playing the part. The presence of God was playing the part. And the tree of life had to do with the presence of God. Now, the Christians would say that, you could say the fresh start would be the rebirth. The Christian would say that reborn with Jesus. In a way, they say that Jesus is the tree of life. That could be true. And I feel that it is true, based on my experience. And God, connecting with God, the sap, connecting to the sap of God for our transformation, as part is the tree of life. And the branches, as I mentioned when I was reading through the chapter in my book, the branches represents how we're all connected. We're all separate branches. We are separate, but we're separate but still connected. We're independent but still connected. Okay, we connect through that sap. We connect to the center, which is the trunk that holds us up. Okay, and the lifeblood flowing through is the lifeblood flowing through all of us. So that was reminded me of that, and that life-giving that came back to me, back to my father, my family, was because of God. That was such a great reminder of the world we're living in when we forget these things. We forget all the symbolism. We forget, if we're focused on the day-to-day, we're focused on technology, mobile phones, we're so focused on operations, that we lose sight of the deeper meaning of life, the deeper reasons of why God is so important in our life every single day. And this is why I do reflect on the tree of life quite regularly. And it's eternal, it's eternity, it's rebirth, that we are constantly being reborn. And there's one great happening, that great rebirth to more and more rebirth in our lives. So I see that as a continual process for myself. And a reminder also to me and to all of you that to be ready to be constantly transformed and changed, as the sap is constantly flowing through the tree of life, that we are constantly allowing for ourselves for change. There's no such thing as stagnancy. Okay? Now, there are a lot of references of the tree of life, okay, in many places. Now, there are two references, which is Genesis and also in the book of Revelation. That's in the Bible. I also believe in the Quran there's a reference of the tree of life. Okay? So, the tree of life was referenced in the Bible as in the Garden of Eden. Now, there were two trees. One is the tree of life, and the other was the tree of knowledge of good and evil. The tree of knowledge of good and evil, which could have been represented as the tree of death. Okay? Now I want you to reflect on that and find out why there are these two trees. Okay? We have the free will to focus on the tree of life or to focus on the other tree. And you really look at your life, there are two pathways. One path is the path of God, and the other path is not. So you look at it as two things, two different trees. So the tree of life is the giver of truth. The tree of life is eternity. The tree of life is constant renewal and life. So we focus on the tree of life instead of the other tree which is symbolized. All right? And yes, the symbol of tree of life is also growth and strength. If you look at the trunk of the tree, it is strong. It's very, very hard to chop down a tree, especially an old tree. So the trunk is the stability and the strength. And as long as we connect with God, we will gain stability and strength. Okay? As long as we tap onto the tree of life, we will maintain that. All right? I thank you very much. And my website, I encourage you to subscribe to my website, tahiraamirkhan.com. My YouTube channel, okay, is also specified on my website. I encourage you to join it. And I've got many, many topics which I cover on. Today was a little bit philosophical, but there's some simpler topics, some day-to-day things which you probably question in your life. And I thank you very much and good night.